All right. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. I want to say thank you to all those that are listening to my voice. I want to say that at the end of the day, trading is a journey, and I am ecstatic to now do this, pushing 4.5 years of just primarily mindset. I feel like it helped me a lot, and each and every one of you has helped me help you help me. I know that sounds kind of crazy, right? But I never thought I would even take mindset serious. Yeah, I've heard that before. I thought I already had it under control because I've had successful retail businesses I worked for. Um, Everything under the sun. I just didn't think it was necessary, but this is probably the most critical class that you would have to handle and take relatively serious. My goal each and every single Saturday is to bring you to complete zero. I'm not here to down you because you made mistakes, and I'm not going to go ahead and pat your back to kind of drag you back up either. My goal is to get you back to objective driven. And if you are on the high side, I'm not here to give you praise because you had $1.5 million or not. And I'm not going to go ahead and degrade you because I feel like I should be somewhere and you're over there and have jealousy. That does not help neither one of us. My goal in its total entirety is to bring you back to zero. It's the most important thing. Zero or O for objective, however way you want to look at it, because the market only gives to those that has a plan. That's why you always hear is the patient that takes the money away from the impatient. And I got a nice little situation to kind of tell y'all about. And if you're always clicking, always touching the button, and again, it is so easy to click a button into the market. That's the crazy part about it. And watching the candlesticks, let's just say a 1 minute chart, and you're looking at the chart, you can see, oh my God, in 1 minute, that gave $1,000. Oh, there's money there. And that's the wrong way to look at the market. Couple of challenges I gave to all the people that's either taking a one-on-one with me or group classes or even my free classes along the way is that I repeat in more ways than one. And again, I had to develop it for myself. I didn't even think that this was real. I was like, oh, well, I can watch the 1 minute chart and I can see the trend and I'll just stay in the trend because it's a 1 minute chart. I don't need one chart, right? And that was debunked in more ways than one. You are your higher time frame. Whatever your higher time frame that you're trading, that is who you are. So let's put some thought process to that, right? If you're a 45-minute trader, that's who I am. I love the 45 minute. My goal is not to just be in there for 5 minutes. It's not. Because if your goal is to be in there for 5 minutes, then either A, you're heavily leveraged and you got to your goal, and that's okay too. That's fine, all right? But if you have lowered leverage and you get three 45-minute candles, two 45-minute candles, one 45-minute candle in your direction, that is your identity. And that's what the trades need. They need people that knows themselves because it's going to hold a mirror right in front of you and be like, hey, guess what? Your stop loss is too tight for this 45-minute candle. Why are you still down here on this 1 minute chart looking for an entry? Aren't you already in the trade? So the challenge for y'all in February is lower your leverage, lower it down to 10% of it. That's all. Nothing crazy, right? And then up your time frame one notch. I want you to get just a little bit higher so you can just be able to kind of get the bird's eye view on the market and kind of slow down your pace a bit. What is this going to do for you? This is going to put you in a strong position to understand market mechanics, really hone in on your top-down analysis, and get you to a point of complete objectivity. Now, entry time frames tends to play with your ideology and position. It plays with your emotions. it tells you, hey, you see this red candle? We just put four of them in a row, and we're going to go ahead and show you $500 just to bring you back to break even. But if you were paying attention to your higher time frame, you might be right on top of an order block, and they're just beating people backing up over, so that way they can go ahead and explode later on. And then the first thing you'll be like, ah, man, I was just in this trade, and look where it is now. Well, why are you worrying about where it is now? How long ago did they finally get to that level? Did it take 2 hours to get there between the accumulation all the way to the upside? That's your challenge. Lower your leverage so that way your heart rate can go down a bit. Up your time frame so that way your brain can match your heart. And just run your strategy. Run it the way it's constructed. I want to share a story with y'all before I go into the participation phase. So yesterday I was looking at the market, and the upside was clear. It was completely clear, especially a nice little retracement coming from a very strong push to the downside all week. Friday, people start cashing out their puts. It had no choice. It had to at least come up a little bit, right? And I missed it. I completely missed it. Rod, don't get on my case, all right? Oh man, I missed my entry. I was a little distracted, came in a little late to the house, and I just was not set up. I didn't force it. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas, kicked in, all that good stuff. And I just focused on other things. I went and switched over to NVIDIA. I made like about 200% on NVIDIA. I switched over to Oklo. I kind of took a peek at that. I switched over. I just went to my normal routine of what I'm doing for the community, right? And then I was like, wait a minute. It's been about 4 or 5 hours. We're almost at 2 o'clock. We still we still didn't hit my level, right? And if you remember, album has dropped. Hint, hint, Kalani Ward. Anyways, I was looking at the level and I was like, for all that movement to the upside, you mother suckers did not take it to my target. And that's where I would have targeted, and I would have had to sit inside of the trade the whole day, and you still didn't get there. So since we was like 80, 90% away from the target, and this is what I want to kind of hammer home with this story. Sometimes your trade is not your trade, right? And it's going to give it to someone else. Remember, the market is a summation of every person's ideology, strategy, and thesis magnified in one summary for public consumption. So if you just wait for a few seconds, you might find another thesis. And that's exactly what happened. So as it got close to my target, I think it got to like, I don't know, 96% of it. The first thing, and D-Boy is probably going to laugh at me, but the first thing I was like, man, I feel like I'm about to do something reckless. I'm about to do something reckless. Let me just go ahead and turn on this Xbox. I can't click a mouse if I have my Xbox controller in my hand, right? And I try to distract myself, but it was just so tempting. It was like, yeah, you gotta take this trade. So as I'm playing 2K, which is probably the most asinine thing in itself, and I do apologize. This is not a motivational speak of saying, hey, trade while distracted, trade while you drive, trade when it. No, this is not one of those. This is one of those. I should not have done it, but it was just so obvious that I just said, what if? Put my stop loss where they belong, put my take profit where they belong, all that good stuff, right? And first, they kind of played with me, lost $50. They lost $60. And I was like down to my last $60. And I was like, man, you know what? I know what they're trying to do, but the thing that y'all call manipulation, I call it just regular order block positioning, to each its own, but whatever you want, right? And I said, if you give me one more candle reversal, I am just gonna take it. My stop loss is gonna be on top of the block, and I'm gonna do whatever it does, right? And I set it up. Then I go ahead and take my jump shot, and I think we was winning. I was up by like 15 points. Then we kind of started losing because my eyes was just back and forth between the game and the market, right? And then I looked back and I was like, oh damn, this thing went to like $300. Wait a minute, what's going on over here? So by the time I went back, to the game and try to focus on that side, and then I pivoted back into looking at it. I knew how much leverage I had at 7 micros, and I said, "Oh, I see $600. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and take six off, and I'm gonna put a nice little stop loss right there and let her run and run for the rest because that volatility, I think it was like 355. It had to have been 355 volatility. I was like, there should be one more kick to the downside. They ain't gonna go back up because that order block is gonna be tough, right? And I really believed in it, and I was willing to risk that. So instead of putting a stop loss, I put a stop limit for those that knows how this works. And if you're new, um, sorry, if you know how it works, you already know that that was a big mistake, right? But for those that's new, a stop limit is, hey, come pick me up here, and I'm planning for it to go down again, almost like a reversal. So it's like a reversal pattern. While a buy, sorry, yeah, I think I said that right. And then a buy limit would be, hey, pick me up here, and this is the price I'm willing to pay for. It'll come down, come get you, then go back up, right? So that thing went in. I'm over here taking more jump shots. I think I had like 25 points on 2K2. I was like balling too. So like, oh snap! What the hell? Why is it telling me I got two contracts? And then I kind of panicked, but I knew what my thesis was. I should have just closed off one, right? But then I was like, let me just get out of it because I'm making mistakes, right? And when that happened, it went right down to my target. So why am I bringing this all up? Well, let's think about this for a second. For the whole entire week, I kind of was over leveraged his standard third because I was looking for certain goals and everything else. And I knew I was going to go to lower leverage when February hits. So I was doing things that was outside of my norm. All right, cool. No problem, right? And then we push forward. Now I am in Friday, and this thing is like almost blown, right? And I'm looking at the money and I'm like, well, I gotta go ahead and do something with this account because why have a prop firm if I don't just have it sitting there? So then I went ahead and just played with it anyhow. And with proper like playing with it with a specific strategy behind it, not just played with it because oh man, it's almost blown and YOLO. No, not one of those, right? I knew what I was looking for. I even tried to distract myself so I didn't take it because I was like, what if you're wrong? And then that doubt kind of kicks in, which is what happens with a lot of traders because as you're, building up your ideology, building up your structure, building who you are in a trading community, trading realm, trading wave, trading journey, right? You're trying to build all these factors, right? And I know my flaws, right? And it felt like one of those triggers that's gonna be like, man, if you get this wrong, you're gonna be all tilted when you go into next week. But I was like, no, you're right. You gotta take the trade because it's not going to give you these opportunities. You already seen what you did this morning. You missed out on an opportunity. This is that reversal. Oops, I just hit my mic. And this is that reversal for that. So what do you do? So I lowered my leverage so that way I didn't destroy the account. It did exactly what I was looking for. If you want to think about it, it's $700 with 7 micros. Was that $3.50? So three divided by that's about I don't know. I can't do the math fast enough. So that's 700, $3. That's what I want to say it's 50 ticks. Am I saying that right? Yeah, y'all got the calculator. I don't even feel like doing the mental math. Too early in the morning, right? And it did what I was looking for. And then it gave me cash that I could redeploy for next time. And I was willing to take, oh, you're not gonna get this back. That way I can have something good for Monday. So walked in over leverage, came in with the proper leverage, lowered even lower than I normally because I don't operate with 1 micros. I don't operate with 2 micros. I usually do it with 7 minis, right? Because I go in with like heavy leverage intentionally. And that was the relatively results. Like I turned a bad situation good because I was in the moment. Yes, a little bit distracted, but it was self-inflicted. I was trying to distract myself so I don't do something I didn't want. But at the same time, it was just so obvious, especially with our skills. You know who you are, you know how you trade, you know your strategy. So even though I did have the Xbox controller in my hand, it wasn't a distraction. Actually, for the most part, it kind of kept me in line so I didn't get out of the trade a little earlier than I normally do, right? Because if I was there, I probably would have turned it around and only took $300, $200, or whatever the case may be. But I said, here's where my stop is. I got to hold on to it. And the way my strategy is, a minimum of 5 minutes. Stay in the trade for at least 5 minutes. But if it hits your target before the 5 minutes, ask yourself, are you willing to risk that for your 5 minutes? And that's the part that made me focus. What's next, Jeff? If this does this, then I'll do that. Why are you in the trade? So that way I can get this entry. What is your stop loss? Right here. Where's your take profit? Up here after the 5 minutes. Wait, it hit close to my target before the 5 minutes. What do you do next? So if there's anything that you learned from today's mindset participation today, let's focus on the mechanics. The mechanics will avoid your emotions. The mechanics will put you in a position of not only success, but it's going to give you focus. Incidentally, you're going to focus to that level because, like, Dan, if they hit that level, I have to take this off. If they do this, I have to do that. Because if it does that, I can't risk it doing this before it does that. And that's what we need to worry about. That's what we need to key off on. That's where we protect our trading journey so that way we can build that little itty baby called that internal trader that you have inside of you into that behemoth, that strong trader in itself. It's the repetitions. So take it, of course, with a grain of salt, apply where necessary, because my goal is not to change your strategy. But I'm just giving you examples of things to look for so that way you can go ahead and apply things that fits your strategy. Anyone that just gives you this, like, oh, this is a surefire thing, and it's going to go ahead and do that. You got to find a way for you to see it. And if you can't see it, it's like driving a car in the middle of the highway with no windshield wipers and it's snowing. You're not going to see anything. All right. That said, appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. That way you can go ahead and know when I am online again.